The Mandela effect proponents remember it spelled as Fruit loops. As a child, I remember the O's in both words as the actual serial loops, but regardless, again, I don't want to evoke memory as a measure. Here it's about convention in business on trademark. Whether it's remembered or not, one can see how logos can change purely based on business practices. Companies can also use different words without exclusive rights to express their registered product and its name. Kellogg has used fruit with such disclaimer, however, not with an official product, not as a logo in any capacity on any product at any given point in time. Remember, you really don't have to register a trademark officially in the United States, but doing so ensures certain legal aspects. A company may employ a variation and not do anything as far as registration. It may be just a test run for marketing purposes of a product. It may be for a legal reason, but that original logo and brand is protected through the fundamental of registration. Now, if it's a totally new product and you continue to use it, then of course it would be good sense for a new registration to guard against legal woes. Froot Loops was originally and always spelled as such, F-R-O-O-T, and officially registered in 1965. In subsequent registrations, Kellogg shows through a disclaimer no exclusive right to the word fruit, spelled F-R-U-I-T. Anticipating marketing strategy or sidestepping legal matters, they made such disclaimer to safeguard and designate use of Fruit describing any of their products without officially registering it. Also noteworthy, and possibly showing reason for Kellogg's disclaimer, is that another company who manufactured fragrance products had an official registration, Fruit's Fruit Loops, at one time. Make no mistake, the official spelling of this Kellogg cereal product is Fruit Loops. And you can see for yourself, it's not magic, it's not an alternate or altered reality, but human beings making unintentional errors that subsist as true memories. Let's measure Kellogg's cognizance of this wrong yet popular way of designating their product. We find ourselves with yet another URL redirect. If you attempt to go to fruitloops.com, you will be redirected to fruitloops.com. Kellogg owns the URL. Here's the record. This once again tells us the company is fully aware of that trendy error, and to indemnify themselves for what is their product and interests, they own that which represents the error and, more importantly for them, redirected potential consumership. Also, if you notice, they registered fruitloops.com around the same time as their actual domain. In fact, the timeline almost dictates the sequence to us. Internet basically gets on the scene, business and individuals alike create presence. Kellogg first safeguards one of their actual flagship products and registers fruitloops.com and gets it going. Then, less than 2 years after that, registers fruitloops.com. The reason they did not register it at the same time with the true URL is because two individuals owned the false URL earlier with an active website. In the archives, it shows they relinquished the URL right around the end of 1999, then allowing Kellogg to swoop in right about 2000. To pause a moment, humoring the evidence, certainly, if the ridiculous idea another reality supplanted our previous one was true, the existence of that mistaken name and domain would not remain in our awareness. Surely those of you reading or watching this video should understand this implication by now. This applies across the board for all examples in a similar fashion. Yes, we know how crucial serial is to national security and cosmic coherence, but for our paranoid friends, surely if for a plot of sorts, Kellogg owning the wrong name certainly would blow their cover. That logic just doesn't fly. Now back to the root of error. Any chance people were just mixing up the names throughout time? That's exactly what happened. In this case, bias from the commonality of the word fruit is so strong it trumps the incongruity factor that would otherwise hold our attention in other cases. Here are some examples of that using simultaneous evidence of the same medium. The same column writers, another time in 1998, made the same oversight. And here are other examples from various years. This particular one is absolutely hilarious. I mean, your head must really be in the clouds to make this error. Even on the official Kellogg website, in the question-answer portion, a customer spells F-R-O-O-T correctly in the title, and then at the same time casually types F-R-U-I-T incorrectly in the actual body of the question. More proof like the rest, this was an unwitting casual error that nobody really cared about. And a few more. A page at Sam's Club demonstrates this negligent error. As does coffee.org. Look at how many times FROOT is ignored right there on the official product, only to be replaced with FRUIT in the title and descriptions by these eBay users. At this blog, in a post about cereal, the posters in the comment section unintentionally spell it correctly and incorrectly, one after the other. And the behavior goes on, not just in that comment section, but throughout the archives, throughout the decades. Nobody cared because it really didn't matter. It's whatever the brain computes in the moment between the environment, such as cued visuals plus awareness, or a total internal event from bias. Either way, the error or recklessness follows us to this day. These examples help us see a bigger picture, one of casual, unintentional behavior. The fact that it happens on any date and without pattern or chronology of change proves a lot. One just needs to be aware of the implication and recognize the occurrences. There are plenty more out there, and if you were wondering about simultaneous evidence regarding just the saliences of Froot or Fruit and their time periods, both can solely be found in the archives on any given date without sequence, logic, or order. Needless to say, without chronology, all spanning from the early 60s up to the present 2000s. Check it out for yourself. This automatic assumption of it being Fruit by some has been occurring basically since day one. It has coexisted with the spelling Froot because without doubt it represents human error. There is no magical and metaphysical line for a reality shift. This error has always been. The commonality of the word fruit is too strong a bias. The memory undeniably confirms that bias. Now, in a hyper-aware state, it causes dissonance. Hello friends, these videos are from 2016, as you may or may not know by now. I may find that I want to create addendums to them or make entirely new videos. For the case of Froot Loops, we'll just create an addendum. I wanted to add to this as a component to the codex of misremembering, which I have mentioned before is influence. Other influential like things could also have a bearing on how we will remember or misremember things. I think the popularity and presence of Fruity Pebbles also played a role in how some assembled their so-called memory of Froot Loops. Since Fruity Pebbles spells it Fruity, its congruent nature sort of melded itself into the nomenclature of Froot Loops. As I discussed in the Chick-fil-A video, some incongruence helps in marketing, making brands memorable. However, too much could have the opposite effect. Where that line of too much lies, that's the mystery. That is the art and skill in marketing, right? Now, Froot Loops has both pairs of the letter O in the word fruit as well as in the word loops, displayed as photorealistic cereal. Perhaps we could speculate this was the breaking point for incongruity for the consumer, and perhaps the brain wants to resolve the all too much incongruency back to the normal spelling of fruit. Fruity Pebbles supplied that resolve with their, quote, proper spelling of fruit. Interestingly, the thought dawned on me to check out the rankings of the popularity of kids cereal, and lo and behold, what do we discover? From foodmanufacturing.com, the official data collected on the Amazon shopping patterns for cereal, Fruity Pebbles takes the reign in popularity over Froot Loops. And even though Froot Loops was likely the leading cereal by the 1990s and overall historically, the influence of Fruity Pebbles is undeniable. I can only now imagine how much influence this had over developing minds trying to make sense of a world bombarded with information and stimuli. even for the time period of Generation X and Millennials, as well as some late boomers. Memory and experience of our environments is not linear. It is highly fragmented, biased, and Frankensteined together, creating a composite that represents to some semblance of actual reality. It reminds me of a law enforcement acquaintance that once informed me how so-called eyewitness accounts were never, ever accurate, and that their value really came from being able to decipher some accuracy out of them. Most memories of most people sucks. Now we have a false impetus of intrigue and excitement to feel that. Or it truly is one big troll job.